What is going on, guys? Welcome to your fifth physics tutorial, and in this tutorial we are finally going to be jumping into multiplication with scientific notation. Sounds fun? Oh, it is. Well, the thing is, multiplication is a lot different than addition and subtraction when working with scientific notation. Now, I'll tell you guys the rules of how to do it, and then I'll walk you guys through a couple examples. The very first thing we need to do is we can't just go ahead and figure out these numbers and then multiply them by each other. We could, but it would just get really messy. So I'm going to show you guys a really easy way. What we do is we take this number, the one without the exponent, and we're going to multiply it by this number. And then what we're going to be doing after that is taking this and multiplying it by this, and then we're going to be multiplying those together. So I know that sounds kind of confusing right now, but trust me, I'll show you guys right now what I'm talking about. So the first thing we need to do is take 6.71 and multiply it by this number right here, which is 2.3. And then what we need to do is multiply that by this, by this. What am I talking about? 10 to the third times 10 to the fifth. So basically, these numbers times these numbers is going to give us our answer. So what is 6.71 times 10 to the 3? Well, the answer to that is 15.433. And now let's go ahead and multiply 10 to the third times 10 to the fifth. Now, in order to multiply 10 to the whatever power, here's what you do. It's 10 to the 3 plus 5. That's the rule for multiplying those numbers. So what we have here is 15.433, that doesn't change, times 10 to the eighth, just like that. And if we look at this, this is kind of in scientific notation already. The only thing we need to do is we need to change our decimal point from here to over here. So in order to do that, we just go ahead and put 1.5433 times 10 to the ninth, just like that. And this is our final answer. There you go. So there you go. That's how you do that. Just remember, whenever you're multiplying one number in scientific notation by another number in scientific notation, pull this number and multiply them by each other, and then the two other numbers and multiply them by each other. So let me go ahead and walk you guys through another example. So in that example, we use 3 and 5, which are two positive exponents. Now let me go ahead and use -4 and -2. It's a little bit different, but it's basically the same thing. So again, remember, the very first thing we need to do is grab 3.2, and I did that again, 3.2 and 6.1. So 3.2 times 6.1, surround those in parentheses, times 10 to the -4th times 10 to the -2. So again, 3.2 times 6.1 is 19.52, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So now what we need to do is times. I'm not even going to go ahead and I'm just going to skip that one step. So what you do is you basically have -4 plus -2. So 10 to the -6, because remember, -4, if you add -2 to it, then you end up with -6. So that's how I'm coming up with that exponent right there. So now we have to figure out this whole thing right there. So basically, if you take away those parentheses, we're basically in scientific notation right now. 19.52 times 10 to the -6. That's a variation of scientific notation. However, if our teacher only wants one digit to the left-hand side of the decimal, then what we need to do is put 1.952 times 10 to the -5. So that's probably what they're looking for, right? And I can't circle this right there. So 1.952 times 10 to the -5 is our answer. That's going to get us all that bonus points. Give me some cookies, biatch. That's what you should say to your teacher if you get it right. You know, I probably wouldn't take that advice, but okay. One more example. In this last example, I have a positive exponent and we're going to multiply it by a scientific notation number with a negative exponent. So in order to do that, again, the same rules still apply. We're going to grab 3.18 and we're going to times it by 9.8, and we're going to take that number and times it by 10 to the third times 10 to the negative 5. So let's go ahead and figure out 3.18 times 9.8 first, and the answer to that is 31.164. And now what you need to do is times that by, again, I'm going to skip this step. 3 plus negative 5 is negative 2. So I'm just going to go ahead and write 10 to the negative 2. And again, we are kind of in scientific notation right there already. But what we can do is, I'm not even going to write this number in scientific notation because it's easier to see if you just write 0.31164 in standard notation. And I wrote that kind of messy, so I'll clean it up for you guys. 31164. So there you go. And I don't know if I told this to you guys, but basically whenever you have something in the range of 10 to the negative 3 or 10 to the positive 3, anything that can fit in between there, you don't need to write in scientific notation. That's the general rule. However, if you have a teacher or a really anal boss or something, he may make you always write it in scientific notation. But I just think that writing, 3.1164 times 10 to the negative 1 is a lot more confusing than just writing this. It's really simple when you have small numbers. So, I mean, you can convert the number 1.5 into scientific notation if you want, but it's just stupid. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, that is basically how you multiply using scientific notation. So in the next tutorial, I'm going to be talking about dividing, which is a whole nother beast. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.